Okay, so my take on the Top Gun thing, it was pure fantasy, pure, suspension of disbelief, man. It's just there for fantasy. It was made mostly for guys, and they threw a little romance in for the girls. But it was a guy movie. It was, the movie, it was set up. I think you give them too much credit when they say when they're trying to prime the public for the idea that we're going to bomb Iran someday. They said,
Are you
yeah, of
sure?
course.
Really? I was going to ask you that.
I,
I was going to say that subliminal message. You're not picking it. You're not buying it.
no, well, I picked up on it. I surmise that yeah, it has to be Iran
Who
because
else could it be?
yeah, but I don't think they were given script notes from the White House or from the Pentagon. Say, hey, you know what? We need to get the public on our side for potential attack on Iran. So why don't you choose this for the script? I don't see that happening. I think they're trying desperately to find a script that was somewhat believable or somewhat had a nice arc to it and that had a nice story. You can't have Tom Cruise going against Russians anymore because he already did that. You can't have. So I mean, what are your options? It had to be.
He did say that, didn't he? About why didn't you make another one, a sequel? And he goes, there was just never a script that was worth doing, and this was the script.
There you go. So I think it's more that than the idea that they were prepping the society for the idea of attacking the Iran nuclear. Nah, I don't think so. I think.
All right. I'll let you have your view. I'll go with my view. Let's have a listen to what Roseanne has to say about that, because I really believe that it is in anticipation of prepping you. And let's hear what the Hollywood Insider has to say.
An organized crime network, and that's what it is. It's like pimps up, hose down.
Yeah.
That's how I always describe Hollywood. It's like, okay, your agent, pimp, another word for pimp.
Yeah.
Your lawyer, another word for pimp, and the hoes are the talent. And they think that talent is expendable, and they think the people running Hollywood are the pimps, and they are. It's just like any other business.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the thing. In the end, it's also just business.
It is business, which is organized crime. All business is nothing but organized crime, ain't it?
It really is, yeah.
So, I mean,
and maybe this is
also the Hollywood.
It's a bit of a cynical view of the world, right? But I see where it's a bit of a long bow to draw to say that your lawyer is your pimp and you're the hoe. Like, anyway, let's hear her version of it, because she kind of unloads a little bit here.
Hollywood got in bed with the CIA, and so that was government money given their way to portray certain things for mass media, for mass consumption.
Yeah.
And to keep people in line, to keep them like thinking fairy tales instead of looking at the truth of, hey, where's my tax money going? It's like, oh, and then Richard Gere falls in love with the prostitute on Hollywood Boulevard. Don't go down there and actually look at the 12-year-old prostitutes that live on Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
Believe the bullshit lie that, the boy always gets the girl in the end, and, there's friendly aliens and, anything Spielberg does. It's just for mind control. Mass media is for mind control, and people are being paid, and they're happy to take the money to make sure that they keep the population under mind control and quiet. They want docile workers.
Yeah.
Like in China, docile workers. They didn't have that in America. They had loud people that were pissed, working class people that are pissed and going, I'm going to turn you into this and that if you don't this and that. So they brought in all these immigrants. That's what it's for, is to break the back of the working class labor and pay. It's like they'll do it for 2 cents. You want a $5. You want a $15 at minimum wage. So we brought them in. They'll do it for 2. See ya.
Yeah.
It's just cruel, but that's what business is.
That's what business is, really.
Yeah, it isn't no love story.
Right. Even though it's so, like, and that's the interesting thing about Hollywood, is that it sells love stories. It sells like
bullshit.
Right. So it gets you to believe these things. And maybe at one time it believed in those things. It was, but I do think that over time it has been.
It never did, because you have to look at the movies that come out at the specific. I'm just talking about movies.
No, okay.
Mass and TV. I had my own shit in TV, which that would take 5 shows to go into the mind control of TV and advertising. It's mass mind control. And But the movies, when you look,
Do you think it's a cynical view of the world, Ed?
Yeah, well, she's starting to sound more like a conservative Republican than before
Than a democratic Hollywood
that's
person?
right. But yeah, finish this thought because I got some definite thoughts about what
Well,
she's
I'm
saying.
just thinking, like she seems like a bit cynical about it all, like it's about mass mind control, and it's that, and I say Top Gun Maverick is mass mind control to get you used to the idea that we're going
Okay.
to bomb an Iranian nuclear facility. But to your point, you're like, what are you talking about, man? It's just a movie. Just go watch the Avengers, man. Just enjoy it. It's like, it's fun. Can't you have a bit of fun? Why does it have to be so serious all the time? But what, to her point, she's saying that is pacifying you, and
Okay.
that's making
Well.
you
Okay.
you docile.
Okay, so this is marketing. This is what marketing is, right? If you drink Coca-Cola, you're going to save the polar bears, right? Well, Coca-Cola it's got more sugar in it than
It's poison.
it's like right. It's poison, but by drinking Coca-Cola, you're saving the polar bear. It's marketing, right? And look, during World War II. A lot of my favorite movies, my favorite war movies, were, I'm sure, financed by the government, to produce a propaganda film about PT boats in the Philippines, but they're good movies. It's about supporting, getting the public to be patriotic, so they buy
Well,
more war.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you could be cynical about it and say those things, right? And say, oh, the CIA funded that movie about PT boats because they want you to join the Navy and fight the evil Japanese enemy or whatever, right? But you could say that about anything.
You can say about
that
anything.
about a book, about a news article, or anything.
Every war has had propaganda involved in it. Every government, every dictator, they rely on propaganda. Propaganda is the most powerful tool. Propaganda, in another word, is marketing. That's what marketing is. So this is why it's important. It's important to teach people, critical thinking in school. Learn how to be a critical, thinker. Coca-Cola. Well, yeah. Yeah, they showed me an ad about saving a polar bear, but you know what? It's got full of sugar. So people have to learn to think for themselves, right? So
I've got to take my emotions out of Tom Cruise sitting in the back of an F-18F, pretending to sit in the front.
That must have drove you nuts.
It did.
There's no way he's in the front. There's no way he's in the front. He's a fucking Hollywood. They're gonna put him in the front seat and let him take it off himself.
They're not going to let him touch the controls ever.
No.
What are you thinking?
I'll tell you though. Me too. I was disappointed when I found out that he was in the back seat. I found out early on because there were all those trailers and they talked about it. So it was,
the making of it. Let's finish off Roseanne here, shall we?
the time frame that a movie comes out, you have to look at the whole political geography around it and why it's coming out and what it's saying. Because a lot of times it's kind of a fortune-telling thing, and it's predictive programming, it's called, because it's telling you what's going to happen pretty soon. Especially science fiction. What's going to happen pretty soon, because they're in bed with the government and the CIA.
Right, so they're in bed at this point with with groups that have more intelligence than the average layman or whatever. The regular.
So let's end that there, because I think she's kind of drawing a bit of a conspiracy theory long bow there. It's a business. People make movies. They want to have distribution and create movies, but there is some element of truth to what she's saying about Hollywood and the mass mind control. But you say, like we said, we can say that about media. We can say that about what we're doing. It could be a version of mind control, saying, don't stop looking at everything over there because the truth is over here. Use your critical thinking. That's a version of mind control as well.
Well, one of the big mysteries